Hey guys, really quick before I start the review, I did just want to say there's going to be a timestamp in the video as a whole in like the description and everything like that, that tells you when I'm going to start talking about spoilers. And I kind of dive a little deep into the detailed stuff that I don't like about the story here. So if you feel like watching that, feel free and skip to that if you've already seen the movie and you already have your own opinion on the movie. You just wanted to maybe hear my opinion on just like the little spoiler stuff. But all in all, I hope you enjoy the review. Thanks, guys. So I'm just going to flat out say this about 28 years later, and this might sound like a contradiction of some sort, but trust me, when I explain a little bit more, maybe it'll help out a little bit. 28 years later is a great film with an absolutely terrible story, in my opinion. Like it's paced story wise, the pacing, the story, it's just not good in those terms. And I'm the kind of person that I can watch anything, a bad movie, good movie. It doesn't really matter. Action, story. It doesn't really matter. Horror. Like I watch pretty much everything and I can kind of see what a movie is trying to be just by kind of accepting what it's giving me. This movie, though, was one of those movies where it annoyed me because it already has a structured world. 28 Days and Weeks Later both had really good narrative. They had a really good flow to both of those movies. And this one just felt like it just didn't really know how to do that. It was really weird. I'm not sure what Alex Garland was smoking here when he wrote this one, but it just wasn't exactly what I was looking for when it came to a third movie in a series. I got a little more I wanted to go into about it, but for the people who don't want any like major spoilers, I'm just going to say right now, I like this movie a lot. I thought it was a cool movie. I thought it looked really good. Cinematography was fantastic. Overall, just world is really, really cool to look at. The shots that you get in this movie, like I said, cinematography is absolutely top tier here. Tension that builds up in some of the scenes is really good. The acting is phenomenal. There's just the blemish of the story being very lackluster here. All in all, I would say if you're a fan of 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, you should definitely see this movie because it is a Danny Boyle film. It's his baby and he's still trying to make these movies happen. And then Alex Garland is typically a good writer. And for the most part, this movie's dialogue between characters is good. It's just the way the story is structured. It's just really, really not well put together, in my opinion. But all in all, I think if you like those other movies, and even if you haven't seen those other movies, I still think this is a good build for a zombie movie. It's just me personally as a fan of the series. I didn't really like the direction they're taking with this one. I think this movie's got a lot of tonal shifts where it'll go from being just absolutely fucked up to being just kind of goofy towards the end. And these are things that people have already probably talked about, and they've bitched about the ending quite a bit. But I agree. I think it's a very weird tone that they took in the last part of the movie compared to the first part of the movie. In the beginning of the movie, you're seeing kids getting ripped apart. In the last part of the movie, you're seeing things that I've never seen in a zombie movie before, to be completely honest with you. So I don't want to spoil much about that, but all in all, I thought this was a good film, like honestly, a great film, just not a good story whatsoever. And for me, I'm the kind of person that if there's not a good narrative, it takes me out of the movie. Like you can have as much good action as you want, and this movie does have really good action and gore. It's just I'm somebody who likes a narrative more than I would like action. And if they would have just maybe made the story better, I think this could have been the best 28 whatever movie out of the entire series so far. I felt like they treated this movie like the first movie in the franchise instead of the third movie in the franchise. And that's fine. I get it. Like I expected it, especially because Danny Boyle spilled the beans with this movie. Right before the movie came out, he had an interview and pretty much said that it's going to be a trilogy, or he intends it to be a trilogy. He filmed 28 years later and the second movie, which is going to be called The Bone Temple, I believe, back to back. So The Bone Temple is definitely coming out. It's coming out in January, which is not a great thing. And the third movie is pretty much hindering on the fact that the first and second movie need to make enough money or be respectable enough in the box office to warrant a third film. I do think this is going to get a third film because I do think there's plenty of fans that went and saw this movie. I mean, the budget was 60 million. They spent another 15 on marketing, give or take. So let's just say 60 million is the base for how much the movie was to make. So the studio is definitely looking to make that back. And at this point of recording, Saturday, the week after the movie came out, it has made about 70 million, probably a little more now, but that's good. That's good enough. It made its money back, and I'm sure the studio, seeing the second movie coming out soon, I'm sure they're like, well, we'll recoup our money at least and hopefully make enough money for you guys to do a third, and people will keep coming back to see the third movie. Myself, I will watch all three of them, whether there's two or three of them, doesn't really matter. I will watch them because I am invested into these stories. But I just don't really love the direction in which they're taking with the year's movies so far. Though, I understand this is just part one of part three or of a three-part thing. That annoys me. I've never been a fan of going into a movie and like kind of being like bait and switched into coming back again because they feel like doing a sequel 6 months later. I'm okay with it, I suppose. It is what it is at this point. I can't really do much about it. I can't change the fact that it's going to be a trilogy. I just hate that the movie can't stand out on its own. I don't think it will. At least it's not good enough story wise to really enthrall me to watch it ever again. I'll probably do a recap when the second movie comes out in 6 months here. Actually, I think as a time of recording, it comes out in literally 28 weeks, which is, I don't know if that's poetic irony or what, but either way, I'll probably rewatch this movie just to get a recap. But I don't think this is a movie I'm going to go back to the way I did with 28 Days and Weeks Later. I just really don't. I felt like this movie did a lot of things to like kind of retcon 28 Weeks Later. Like there was just little things that they could have done that could have really made fans feel like it was worth the wait a little bit more. I mean, especially because like it was like 2007 when Weeks came out, and it's like the hardcore fans have been waiting for this third movie. And I thought that it would be kind of like a Planet of the Apes type situation where like the second movie ends with like the apes kind of really taking over, and then the third movie is just pretty much the world around the apes ruling it. And I mean, it kind of is like that in this movie, but it's just not as encapsulating as like the Planet of the Apes movies or anything like that. But I'm only comparing them because it's kind of a virus type situation, humanity versus these things, type shit. But I just really didn't love the story, and that's something that hinders me from enjoying a movie altogether. Like I can watch plenty of Jason Statham movies, but like at the end of the day, I know going into those, like they're not trying to build any world here. They're not trying to build a franchise out of Jason Statham movies. Like they're all just action movies, and that's fine. But the 28 Days, Weeks, later movies, like these movies have like a certain tone to them that I expect to continue. And this one just kind of being like a part one kind of just took away a lot of like the air in the sails at this point in time. So I don't know. I didn't like love the story at all. Like I've said 100 times now, I just think it's a great film. I think the cinematography is fantastic. There's something they do in this movie where every time an enemy gets killed, like a zombie gets shot in the head with an arrow, it does this weird thing where it'll like show the camera angle from the back of the zombie's head where the arrow is going through, and it'll pause, and then it'll shift the camera over almost like you're watching like an iPhone commercial or something. Like they're trying to advertise to you that the phone can do this. And obviously I thought that was kind of funny considering the fact that like I'm pretty sure this movie was filmed with like iPhones and shit, just like the first movie was. So I thought that was kind of cool to see the panoramic like kind of viewpoint that they did with some of the kills here. I thought it was cool to look at. I also just couldn't help but feel like this movie didn't really give us anything new. I mean, like we got like these new versions of the infected called the alphas, and like they're cool as fuck. They're like big Jason Momoa, Brock Lesnar looking motherfuckers. And there's a part in particular that I keep remembering that kind of creeped me out. There's a part where like the dad and the son are hiding in like a cabin overnight because obviously they can't really leave at night because the zombies are out or whatever. They're like looking up at the hill that they came from, and there's like this alpha, which is like a big one that like apparently it commands the zombies around, and it's like it's way stronger. It's smart as fuck though, and it's like standing there like stalking them. And I love the idea that like they're like that. I love that concept. I thought that like that was just a really well put together structure to the movie. But like after the first like 45 minutes, the movie just plummets in story. Like it just completely plummets pacing wise, and like all the stuff that they built on in the first 45 minutes was just so thrown out afterwards. It felt like it just didn't, I just wasn't really like as scared for the characters after that first 45 minutes, after it showed that they can get to safety so easily. It felt like the journey was so short, and like there wasn't really much of like, they should have stretched the journey out a little more, I felt like. And that was probably my main like real gripe with this movie, besides like the story and pacing stuff. But like there are some really good moments though. Like there's just random moments where like it'll just like randomly show in between scenes like zombies hiding in like a nest, and it's super creepy. It's like some Blair Witch shit where it's like it's all like red filtered with like it's like night vision kind of like filmed, like almost somebody standing there in the cave with the zombies recording them. It's just really creepy shit, and they'll randomly show that, and like that was really good. Like those like little moments like that are what make this movie really worth watching. As well as the music. The music is typical 28 weeks, 28 days later type of like melancholy kind of creepy music. They use it really well in this one, as well as like I said, the action. It kind of merges with each other, the music and the action. But all in all, though, like I could give or take this movie. You know what I mean? It's kind of just there. I know it's getting really good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think this movie's a 96% or wherever it's sitting right now. I think this is more of like a 75, maybe an 80%. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10 just because I appreciate Danny Boyle for creating the franchise in general. But I don't think this is the strong suit of the series so far. I think honestly, with the way the story played out, it just felt so inconsequential and like just annoying at times. It felt like things were happening to set up a sequel, and like that to me is the worst type of movie to go into. I look back and I watched, like, for instance, Batman Begins again, okay? And I know the Nolan movies are like top tier, you know what I mean? They're great. Rises was give or take, but like they're top tier at this point in time. So like when you watch Batman Begins, obviously you know Dark Knight is a fantastic movie. Like it's a 10 out of 10. But if you go back and watch Batman Begins, like you can watch Batman Begins and you don't need a Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises to make it fully a great movie. Like Batman Begins starts and ends in a way where it's like this could go anywhere. They tease the Joker, but they don't have to make another movie. This was just a really good first movie in general. If this 28 years later is the first of 3 movies, this has got to be the weakest one out of the 3. I mean, I don't know how much worse it can get story wise, because like it just nothing really mattered to me here. Like it just really didn't. So I'm not gonna beat a dead horse here. I didn't love this story whatsoever. Again, I just really didn't, and I wish it was better. I really do, because I had a lot of expectations, and seeing as how the second movie comes out in January, I've got some really bad feelings about that, mainly because I'm a January baby. Like, I love going to the movies. You guys know I review movies all the time and stuff. Like, I see so many movies a year. It's ridiculous. Majority of my movie time is not in January or February. Like, I don't go and see movies really at all in those months, because everything that comes out in January specifically is notoriously ass. It's notoriously shit from a butt, dude. It's always bad in January. Always. With exception of maybe a couple movies like Smoking Aces, I remember came out around my birthday one year, and I liked that movie. A lot of people didn't, but I liked that movie. But like other than that, there's not many movies that come out in January that are good. And the fact that this one's coming out in January, I just makes me feel like the studio knows it's not going to do well, and that's kind of scary to me. So I think they're hoping that the first movie does most of the money making, so they can get that third one out. And I hope Danny Boyle is able to get his entire trilogy out to tell his full story. But if it's any indication on how this first one was story-wise, I just think there's a complete mess ahead. I really do. So all in all, I'm giving it like a 7.5. I'd say go and see it if you're a fan of this series. Even if you haven't seen the first 2, I still think this movie's a great film when it comes to like cinematography and just all around like zombie chaos action. I think it's good for that. But all in all, I still think the first and second one are probably better. And that sucks, because I think everything but the story and pacing of this one was probably the best thing about the series. But I think story makes a lot of these types of movies really work, and I just think this one didn't do well enough. Just a lot of inconsequential moments, a lot of things setting up a sequel, and I just nobody wants to go to a theater and know that they need to come back in a couple months for the next one. Nobody wants to go through that. So all in all, 7.5. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. I'm gonna probably do another video really quick, just like about spoilers, or actually I might just do the spoiler video right now. You know, I don't want to spoil everything in this movie, but just some of the things that I had problems with pacing wise, for context, just for the people that have seen the movie, maybe you agree on this. I thought the beginning of the movie, like with it starting with like all these little kids getting like pretty much ripped apart by the zombies, I felt like that was telling us like nobody is safe. There's not a single safe main character in this movie. And that felt like very reminiscent of the original, like the first 2 movies, because in the first movie, Brandon Gleeson, he dies. He's the dad that dies right before they meet the military. And it was super sad. It's like, oh man, a main character dying like that. That's insane that he died. And then in the second movie, Jeremy Renner being like the Marine or the sniper that saves the main kids, and he gets burned to death. And like, you're just like, oh my God, that is fucked up. Like he was like a main character. That's crazy. This movie didn't really have any characters that like died, you know, and I know again, it's the first one, and that's what sucks about this is like, it just tone wise, it shifts into like a movie that's just kind of too easy at times. Like it just feels like it's like wants you to wait for the next one. And like, I hate that feeling. It almost makes me feel like it would have been better off as like a Hulu movie or something. That way it's like, oh, at least I'm used to movies at home. I didn't have to spend much on it. And like, the series is going to be coming out later. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe a show or like a TV movie wouldn't have been good, but like I felt like I was so bait and switched into going and seeing this, and I was kind of disappointed by it. But the fact that it starts off with like little kids getting ripped apart, I assume like it's giving you that trope of like anybody could die. And like I felt like killing off the little boy would have been a really good idea, like just to get the dad out of the community and out in the world and possibly like making this a bigger, broader world as a whole. I didn't like that like they kind of retconned 28 weeks later. I thought 28 weeks later's ending where it was like it spread to like Paris or spread to France. I thought that was a cool idea. And then this movie kind of starts out by telling you that they push the virus back. And I just really wanted the third movie in the series to be like about everywhere being infected. I thought that was kind of the point, but like again, it's just condensed into one small space. And like the adventure that the kid goes on, and I'm assuming you've probably seen the movie already if you're listening to this part. Like the little kid gets upset with the dad for like no reason halfway through the movie. It felt like for no reason. I mean, the dad was fucking other women, but like the mom had like dementia and like she was yelling at the dad all the time and shit. Like I didn't really understand. I'm not saying it's okay to cheat on your wife, but like it just felt like in the situation in the world they're in, like your wife's got dementia and it's like you gotta go, you gotta get your dick hard somewhere. You know what I mean? It's kind of dumb. But the kid just suddenly hates the dad all of a sudden. And I kind of expected this movie to be a movie about like a father and son. I wanted it to have like typical like zombie movie tropes where like a father son go out and they get lost or something. Like that's kind of what I was hoping for. And we ended up getting like more of like a just like a really small centered drama around like a little family with a sickness involved. And it's just like, I didn't really like, it just didn't really capsulate me whatsoever. You know, like when the boy like leaves, he gets mad and he takes the mom to the local doctor, and the doctor's like Ray Fiennes, who is Voldemort. He's like this doctor who everybody thinks is crazy, but it turns out he's actually a really nice guy. He's actually really fun to be around. He's only in the movie for like 10 minutes though, and it was kind of annoying because like I was really looking forward to seeing him in the movie, and clearly it's just another thing they're saving for the next movie. But like the kid goes on an adventure by himself with the mom, but technically by himself because the mom's fucking loony. Takes her to the doctor, and what annoyed me was like the doctor was like, "Oh, you have cancer. I'm pretty sure you have cancer. I feel a lump in your like chest." And it's like the mom literally goes, I knew it. Deep down I knew it. I just didn't know how to tell this my son." And it's like, if this is 28 years after a virus breaks out, I mean, cancer existed before the fucking virus broke out. These people are over the age of 28 years old, so they've lived through like having cancer in their lives before the outbreak ever happened. Why didn't anybody just tell the kid the truth? Like, hey, your mom's got cancer. She's probably going to die. And that's like what this movie was about, was like, it was about like accepting death, you know, accepting that we all die. And like, I got that, but like, it just felt like her having cancer. Like I knew the whole time, I was like, she's probably got cancer or something. And like, of course she does. And then they just like kill her off. Like, it's just like, it felt like the journey was just such a waste. And like, I understand the journey was meant to like make Spike, the young kid, like learn how to survive. He's 12 years old. And in the first like 25-30 minutes of the movie, when him and the dad are out hunting, teaching him how to like, you know, hunt and like how to kill zombies and everything. I love that part of the movie. I thought that was really fun because it was pretty much what I was looking for. They get back to the community though, and then suddenly Spike hates his dad and he leaves with the mom, and suddenly like he's just like good enough at killing zombies now where he's like confident in shooting them in the head. And like in the beginning of the movie, he's like wobbly and scared, and like it's like no time goes by at all, and suddenly he's really good at being like a survivor all of a sudden. And on top of that, it annoyed me in this movie how often Spike and the mom got saved by shit. They were always getting saved by something, and it was just like, what the fuck, man? Like there's no brutality here whatsoever. Like there's this guy named Eric. He's like this fucking Swedish military guy that gets stuck on the island that they're on. And like, he's an okay character, but like, he's kind of a douche. And like he's the comic relief. And it felt like his humor wasn't really that funny. And it just didn't match. Again, this movie's whole problem, I think, was just tone. Like the tone of it was just completely off for the most part. And like the ending, for example, like, with like Jimmy showing up, like the kid from the beginning showing up with like a crew of fucking step up dancers. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, where's the shift at? And of course, they gotta save the little kid again. It's like, I just felt like if they would have killed off the kid, maybe it would have encouraged the dad to like step up and like go out in the world or something. And maybe instead of like killing the mom off, the mom and the dad could go together and find the son, even though the son would be dead in this scenario. Like anything was just better than the way like Spike, like pretty much. So I got to tell you beforehand, like the mom and Spike find a pregnant zombie. And this was interesting because the zombie gives birth, like straight up, like very human like too, where like the mom is trying to like help the zombie calm down while she's giving birth, and the zombie does calm down, and it's like, whoa, this mutation is evolving. Like this virus is evolving. Like this is crazy. And we saw that it was evolving in 28 weeks later. And the tropes that we saw in 28 weeks later were really cool. Like where like some people are infected, you could tell by their eye color, but like they didn't like show signs of being infected. They were more calm. And like they didn't work with that at all in this one, I felt like. And I mean, they had the alphas, which were like these big hulking fuckers, and they were cool. I liked them. There just weren't enough of them. And like I like the idea of them, but like anyway, so the zombie's giving birth, and she gives birth to like an actual baby, and then the zombie dies, and then they take the baby to the doctor, and the doctor immediately is like, "Yep, baby's not infected." It's like, how do you know? And I mean, that could be a dynamic later on in the movies, like maybe the second or third movie, maybe like the zombie, maybe the baby is a zombie and it infects the entire community, because Spike ends up bringing the baby back after the mom dies, leaving a note. He's like, "Hey, I found this baby. It's not infected, I promise. Like pinky swear. Don't come looking for me. I'm going out until I want to come back." The movie could have totally ended with the dad going, "Fuck that. I'm going to go find him." And it should have ended with the monologue of the son talking about, "I need to do this on my own," while the dad is like up on the little mountain where they can see the horizon. He could be looking for his son, and then immediately it could go into an epilogue or like an after credit scene, like it kind of did. It could go into an after credit scene of Spike being like caught up with this Jimmy gang. And like the Jimmy thing was like, I get like it's like a old, like it's like a thing for the UK people because like that Jimmy Savile guy or whatever. But like it didn't connect with me. I'm an American. I don't even know who Jimmy Savile is. And like they tried to like kind of shoehorn that in, and it's like, I don't know, man. It just felt like things just didn't matter. It just didn't matter. Like that little tie-in is cute, but like it doesn't matter to anybody but the people in the UK watching the movie. And from the box office, majority of the gross of this movie, like 70% of the gross of this movie were from the US and Canada. So like that Jimmy Savile thing probably went over everybody's fucking head, and it just didn't really matter. But with like the baby thing, for example, I thought what they could have done, they could have ended the movie in a way where like the community, like at the end of the movie, like they're like looking at the baby and like, "Oh my God, it's so cute." And like they're playing with it. And maybe the baby, it zooms in on its eyes, and maybe the baby opens its eyes and it's got a red or like a blue and a green eye, like the mom in 28 and the son actually in 28 weeks later had, where it's like, okay, so that mutation is still a thing where like it lays dormant in people and you can't tell sometimes until like you get saliva from them or something. They could have just built off of 28 weeks later, which wasn't a bad film at all. And it's like they wanted to just kind of shoo that one away. And that's probably because Alex Garland and Danny Boyle didn't really have much to do with the second movie. I mean, Danny Boyle did direct like the first part of 28 weeks later, which was the best part of that movie, I would say. But like they could have just kept, I don't know, they could have built off that, because there are fans that were waiting since like 2007 when 28 weeks later came out for this movie. And I felt like they didn't really reward people that much. Like again, the world was cool. You know, some of the moments were cool. Like there's some really good camera shots here. Like there's some really good moments. It's just, I don't know, man. It just felt like tone and like all around pacing was just a fucking goof here. It was just poop. And like, I didn't understand it. And like I said, the first like 45 minutes, I was all for it, man. I love the way the dad and the son were hunting and he was teaching his son stuff. I love that. I love the way like the movie was really gritty, like the originals, and it felt really good. And then as soon as they got back to the community, it felt like they wrote themselves into a fucking hole. Like they didn't know where to go with it. And it's like, I wouldn't really know where to go with it either when you take away like, you have this tense moment for 45 minutes and then you slow it down by making the characters safe again immediately. It just didn't work for me. So I don't want to like go over every single little thing, because there's a lot of stuff I didn't like, but like all in all, it's weird to me. Like I don't think I've ever seen a movie, like I can't think of anything right now where I'm like, damn, that's a really, really great film, but like it's held back by just one of the worst stories like I've seen in a long time. It just, I don't know, man. It's got me feeling a certain way at this point in time, but all in all, I liked the movie. You know, I did. I enjoyed it for what it was. I will go and see the new one in January. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be that good, but we'll see. And really quick, I think the idea of Danny Boyle spoiling that this is a trilogy and that Cillian Murphy is going to be at the end of the second one, I think he knows this isn't really well written. I feel like this wasn't written like, you know, like I feel like they didn't take their time to write this. I feel like Alex Garland and Danny Boyle were on the phone with each other and he was like, "Hey, I gotta get going, but why don't you just yeah, just do this. And then like hangs up, you know what I mean? Give me my credits. And then he like hangs up. That's kind of how it feels like it was written, to be honest. It feels like two people like kind of put their heads together and only one person was really there to like make it happen, you know? And it just, I don't know. It didn't sit well with me. Something about it just didn't sit well with me. And even Adriana, like she had never seen the 28 movies and she watched the first one, second one, then we went and saw the third one. And even she was the first to say when we walked in, she was like, that story sucked. Like the whole story was shit. And she was enthralled by the first and second movie. Same with most of the fans. So it's just, you can tell, like, all in all, this just, the reception for the story, I don't think is going to ever be good for this movie specifically. But I do think it's getting good ratings because it is a good movie. Like it's a fun movie to watch. Like it really is. So I don't know. I'm hoping for the best in the future. I'm not going to keep yapping about it, but I just wish it was a little bit better. I really do. I was kind of surprisingly disappointed by it, but it is what it is. It's just a movie. Either way, thanks for listening, guys. Bye.